Whoa. Can you see me? Can you see me now? Good. Okay. Hi, everybody. Whoa. What a night last night. I'm trying not to get into an accident because I'm so excited. But, Jesus. Yesterday I went to an investors mixer, and unbeknownst to me, it was one of the most powerful events that I ever been to. First of all, I was doing a 3-day fast, and I was asking God for a movement in my life. Boy, the way these people drive these days is crazy. Everybody rushing and everything. I'm sorry, that was a little side note, but it was one of the best and most powerful events I ever been a part of, and networking events at its finest. And I met some beautiful people. And one of the reasons I'm most excited is because I see God manifesting everything I ever desired in real estate. I see Him doing it. And it was different stories that was told, stories like the failures, or actually they don't call it failures, they call it losses to lessons. A guy named Juan shared his story about several attempts at owning properties, break-ins, everything, in attempt to buy properties in different areas. He talked about wholesaling. He talked about a lot of things that is inside of the real estate investing realm. If anybody knows, I'm already a part of a real estate investors group, actually a part of several groups on Facebook, but I'm actually a part of a group entity of investing anyway. So that's where I learned terms of investing and so forth. And that's where I learned that I've actually transitioned from the baby landlord to the baby investor. So I'm so excited. Thank you, Wendy Lee. I was asked to speak at one of her events, basically for women empowerment, and I'm just in shock because it coincides with my brand from Section 8 to property owner. And I have a vision board up in my living room. It's posted like a picture, baby. And at first I was like, I don't know if I want all my business, but that is one of my biggest main goals. And it was important that I posted it in my dining room at my house. So every time I walk in my house, I look to the left. The left when I walk in, and there's that board. It's like you can't forget it's right in your face. And that's the power of vision boards. It's the power of vision. That's the power of writing it down, making it plain, that the Bible talks about. And so it's also like an activation of those goals, because without me looking back at it 80 times a day, just in passing, it's manifesting. It's manifesting. It's scary. And now my vision and focus has changed completely. I'm thinking about getting a realtor's license so that I can do my own deals. I'm definitely thinking about trying a wholesale. I'm definitely thinking about some more buy and holds, which is what I'm doing now. So in investments terms, I am an investor who is doing a buy and hold. No, I'm house hacking a buy and hold with 3 doors. So if you want to be technical, I have 2 doors because I live in one, but I am on my way out to get me a house so that I can have 3 doors. And I am entertaining short-term rentals, maybe Airbnb, but definitely short-term rentals. And I'm just amazed at the amount of information. God, my brain was in overload mode. I swear. It was just like, I can't take no more. I gotta go. But I did get a chance to network some beautiful people, private money lenders, and they're almost all of them were investors. Let's be clear. Let's start there. sorry, I look in the front and the back when I'm driving, because I got hit from the back one time, and so I don't know, that triggered like me looking back, and I don't believe in looking back. It's like looking in the past. You keep your eyes focused on in front of you. No looking back. However, when you had an accident or you've been hit in the back, it kind of changes a little bit, you know. It's not as excessive as it was before, but it's a process. But anywho, I'm so excited. Like, I'm so overwhelmed with joy. I couldn't even cry from gratitude because I was so in shock when I left that event, because everything I ever spoke of, thought about, God manifested. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I thought back to my life steps and how when I was on Section 8, man, what would it be like to own property? I used to look at this building that's right off 63rd and Stony. It's a tall building. It's about, how many stories is it? It's probably like maybe 30 stories. Yeah, maybe 30 stories. The doors must be huge. They must be huge. I can't imagine how many doors that is. But I always said, man, if I get a building like that, I'll put my family in and have their own apartment for free. Family as in my siblings. And I'll do this and I'll do that. And then I remember I got married. I totally forgot, but there was a program via Section 8 in the FSS department where they had, if you would save and do 3 goals, whatever you save, they will match. Well, my match got all the way up to $10,000. So that means I saved 5. And it was amazing. So they released $10,000 to me without having to be, without having to graduate, meaning that didn't mean I was off the program. You know, it probably should have been. But the way God works, He does everything in His will. When you are His, let's be clear, when you are His, right? It's a process He needs you to go through to learn things and everything, right? So, I got the $10,000. I looked across the street at a beautiful 6-unit that I knew of because my friend lived in the building. And I was like, I want that. I want that. I want that specific building or the one next to it, but definitely that building. And at the time I was telling my then husband, oh, we should try to get this. And he was such a pessimist. He was like, no, that's not going to work. It's going to be too much. And da-da-da-da. Man, whoever your spouse is powerful. They can make or break your dreams, your visions, and your goals. Let's be clear. So be careful who you select. But he was a pessimist, you know, and for whatever reason, that shunned me from it. That discouraged me from the whole idea. And the crazy thing is, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, I'm just not. It almost felt like God was delivering the building to us, because at the time we was in church together, and that's where we had met. Because the landlord there died. He died. And I'm not saying that in the, you know, I'm sorry, God rest his soul. But it was just like God was like, here. But anyways, not to go on a tangent there. But that whole process has shunned me. And then I just, well, maybe it's not meant to be. And right? It was very, very, very discouraging. Very discouraging. Very discouraging. And I kind of stopped thinking about it. And this guy named Jordan at the event reminded me of that. And all it took was that one comment. So then, I'm still on Section 8. And so Section 8 implements a program where you don't have to recertify until 2 years. So I started getting contract positions in the IT field. And anyone know IT can make a pretty good penny. In those days, it wasn't that much. But compared to now, it wasn't that much, but it was still a good penny. And so I said to myself, are you serious? I was asking my specialist, are you serious? She was like, yeah. So I had got a job. I'm trying to remember, how much was I making then? How much was I making then? How much was I making then? How much? I better get over. Yes, I better get over. Get over. Come on. I need you to move up. Thank you. Okay. I got a job. How much? I was at $16, $17 an hour. And I started making that money. And I was at zero income, let's be clear, on Section 8 because I wasn't working. And when I started working, I contacted my specialist. I was like, okay, I'm working, because I felt like, well, still let them know. She was like, Miss Washington, I don't care. And I was like, what do you mean you don't care? And she was like, Miss Washington, I don't want to see you for 2 years. This is what my specialist said. I said, but are you serious? She was like, yes, Miss Washington. I was like, okay. I got off the phone like, are you serious? I saved every single penny. Listen, by the time I did buy my property, I had that plus more. The down payment, the first time home buyer's credit, I didn't even have to pay. It wasn't even $3,000 to put down on my building. Let's be clear. And I had over 10 at that time. I had like over 10,000 from saving over, that time. Because I knew graduation was upon me from Section 8. I knew that if I continued in the realm of, IT, every job would have been more money. I was contracting, but you could always renegotiate. You could renegotiate, how, your money going up. So I went from 16 to 17 to 18. No, I don't even think I ever seen 18 in IT. I think I went from 17 to $21 an hour, right? I'm trying to remember, was I still on? But anyways, I knew my time was coming, and the only thing that saved me a couple times was that I would end up being off a project right at the time. Excuse me, I be having to focus. Right at the time that it was time to recertify. So I would be like in between projects where I wasn't working. And so that would like reset the clock. And then I would start working, because that's how contracting is. You're on, you're off. You're on, you're off, right? So I literally would save because I knew that the next time I recertify, it would be time to go. I knew it. Time to graduate, time to evolve, time to progress, time to transition, time to go to the next step. No longer from the projects, no longer from Section 8, right? I knew. But I said to myself, when I leave, I don't ever want to come back. And so in my mind, I thought I was going to save a lot of money, so that when I did get what I thought at that time was going to be my house, that, I'll never come back. God saw other plans. Inserts God. So what had happened was, for some reason, God, everyone God decided to surround me by were landlords, property owners, investors. And I couldn't seem to fathom that circle and how that worked. I couldn't fathom it. I didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. And then I remember I was with 2 skater friends at Bar Louie, I'll never forget. And I was talking to him about him mentoring me and, getting a house at the time. I don't know how I forgot my first vision, but the guy told me yesterday it was completely out of your mind once your ex-husband had put that thought in your head that it wasn't possible, it wasn't attainable. But it every bit was. It was what God wanted, right? So he's sitting at the table and he's talking to this other skater, my other skate bro, and he asks him, he says, if you had a choice, would you get a house or would you get a apartment building? And he said, oh, I would get apartment building, because the property will pay for the house. And he was like, right. So when he said that, every bell, whistle, it was like, ding, went off in my head. It was like, oh, I felt so slow. It was like, God, is that what you've been saying this whole time? I have all these investors and property owners around me. I'm asking them questions about how to, what is it like in their journey, because I'm excited for them. And I never put two and two together until Jay said, and I'm going to call his name out because God bless him. God used that man to make the bell go off in my head. That ding. And so it was. And when he said that, I about completely switched gears. I said, no, I'm going to get a house. And I had called Wendy Lee, my realtor. I called her that year before to ask her about getting a house. I started looking for a house a year before. I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to look. I was aggressively looking on my own. I was connecting with realtors, and I ran across Wendy Lee. And Wendy Lee told me at the time, this is a year prior to when Jay said that. Wendy Lee told me that, she said, you want to get a house, that's fine. I know, I try to tell people, get a property, because that helps. And that's another thing that when Jay said that, because Wendy Lee had told me that the year prior. She had said, well, because the property can pay for the house. But for some reason, I kicked that out of my head. I don't know why. I kicked it out of my head completely, right? But fast forward, and then this guy says this at this table, and everything came back to me. Well, not everything. And then, but just the building idea came back to me. I was like, I want to get a building. So fast forward a year, I go immediately to Wendy. Let's look for a building. I was basically like, I reintroduced myself. This is unique. I worked with you a year ago, blah, blah, blah. You were saying this. Well, I decided I do want to go back into the market, but I want to look at a building this time. And I said, well, how does that work? And she was telling me, and I had no idea it was as easy as it was for first-time home buyers, right? And then apparently it's not just for first-time home buyers, where you can get a process that durable and doable, but it was just perfect for a first-time home buyer. You get the first-time home buyer's credit. He said that too. So he kind of began coaching us and everything, and I think at the time he had a couple of buildings, and then he inherited his mom's buildings, and so he was already in that realm. And so it just inspired me so much. And we was on looking for a property, right? And then fast forward, I looked at my first property, and I was like, it's interesting, but okay, and then we kept looking at others, but we didn't look at too many. And so Wendy begins to say, you might want to think about this property, because that was the first property I looked at, because she was telling me what was going on with it, that they had dropped the price by $10,000, and it had a contract, but the contract ended up not happening for whatever reason. But so I was like, they say you never pick the first thing you look at, right? So I was like, I threw myself off. And then I don't know what happened, but I was woke up out my sleep like, you got to get that building. So I called her almost the earliest I could call her for human standards, because I think I woke up in the middle of the night like 2 a.m. And then I contacted her probably like 6 a.m. like, put an offer on the building. Lo and behold, got the building, and I swear to you, I didn't even pay $3,000. I came out, how people say they came out the closing with money? I came out the closing with money. It wasn't even $3,000. I remember I had saved a lot of money, so I still had money to repair and fix up or whatever, right? So excited. And there I was off to my landlord journey, right? Or so I thought. And through the years, I said to myself I wanted to be a landlord at least for a year to kind of see what it was like. But I kind of knew I'd rather be hands off. I didn't have the time, the capacity. And then I realized I was on a perfect journey with what I envisioned in the beginning, because if you're investing, in my opinion, and from what I was told, an investor hires property managers to manage their property so that they can focus more on the investment side, right? And so subconsciously, that was a vision of mine the entire time. And then I get with a group called Renatas, and then I started exploring investing on a whole different level. I had my coach Carlos, shout out to Carlos, and I started learning about investment, and I still learn. I'm still learning. I'm still in classes and everything. And then Wendy starts inviting me to her investors groups and women empowerment groups, and I'm feeling like everything is full circle. I had an epiphany. I'm trying to remember, when did I have an epiphany? Was it last year? And finally, everything came back to me. The building I was looking at and thinking about on 63rd and Stony, that was once only a fantasy. The 6th unit I was thinking about. The landlords I thought about as I was a Section 8 tenant, just loving to watch them landlord. My landlord in Bronzeville, who became a mentor without even knowing she was a mentor, she took me under her wing so heavy and hard. She tried to sell me her building almost as soon as I moved in. And I'm like, Elmira, I'm on Section 8. Just want to let you know, I'll sell it to you for $300,000 on King Drive, right? And I was like, no, I ain't about that life. I don't got that going on. But God was like, you have no idea, Unique. Fast forward, me and her are as close as ever. She's my mentor. Listen, everything came back full circle. Every time I've stalked houses, I will stalk a house in a minute. In a minute, I will stalk a house. So my heart has always been real estate. Never knew that. Never sat and thought about everything that I thought about in terms of a house or building, because I probably didn't realize that was the realm of real estate. That is how real estate investing works. I just was like, oh, I like to look at houses. I like to do this. I like to do that. And God had some plans. He had plans. God had some plans. He had plans. Let me turn this GPS off because I don't need it. I hope it didn't affect my sound. But hallelujah, God, you are wonderful. You are amazing. I see everything now full circle, and that circle ain't even complete. Because your girl, that stuff they said to me yesterday, I'm on fire. And I thank Wendy Lee. I thank people like Wendy Lee, Jay, Elmira, Freddie Sanders. I think he's deceased. God rest his soul. I want to thank Suzanne. She was a landlord that I talked to. I want to thank everybody I encountered. I even thank Trinity, because I think God was probably using him for the perfect timing. It probably was not, the answer was probably not no, it was probably just delayed, you know. So now that I think about it, yeah, but amen. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed. Right now, I'm renovating my first floor and my second floor. And then once I get those settled and taken care of, I'm moving out into my house. And I'm trying to figure out where that's going to be, if it's going to be in the suburbs, wherever it's going to be. I've been hitting this ground running. I'm not playing no games with y'all. It's on. It's on. It's on. The girl is an investor. Went from the projects. Well, technically, I'm from the west side. I'm not from the projects. I moved to the projects at the age of 11. So, the projects is Section 8. I stayed on Section 8 a long time, let's be clear. It was probably 20 years. It was probably 20 years. And it's not like, you know, I was even married on Section 8. And I see it was still the right time. And I was on the Section 8 enough to know I never want to go on another governmental assistance program again, ever. But thank you, God. It was a stepping stone. I needed it there. I needed that crutch for a little bit to help me get on my toes. And I utilized every governmental program I could, and it leveraged me. And I think that's how people should use it. But yeah, I'm here. I'm excited. I'm on fire. I'm pumped. I'm amped. And it's on, you know. It's time to go. Let's go. Guys, have a good day, y'all. I hope I inspired somebody, and look forward to soon. I will be recording my speech when I talk about my journey at Wendy's event. Stay tuned, guys. Have a good one. Signing off, the baby landlord turned baby investor. All right, y'all. Bye.